Okay, so here we are live once again with another Masters Universe Origins unboxing, and this is Dragon Blaster Skeletor. Yeah, this is another one that I did not have the original one of these when I was a kid. I had the original Skeletor, even with the half boot, like the very first Skeletor. And I had Battle Armor Skeletor, my personal favorite of all the Skeletor figures. But I never had Dragon Blaster Skeletor. I did always think he was pretty cool, so I'm not sure why I didn't actually pick him up. But I have this new Modern Origins version, so we're gonna have some fun opening this up. Let's see. It says modern posing for retro play. Press Dragon's head to spray enemies. So unlike Cobra Khan, he actually does squirt water. And it's got Snake Men on the back. This is still part of the Snake Men theme. So they got scales on the package. They went all out on Snake Men, and I didn't see hardly any distribution here. But Target at least did get in this deluxe figure assortment. So I was able to get Dragon Blaster Skeletor and Snake Face. And you see other figures on the back that I also never saw at retail. Slamurai, King Randor, Snake Tila, and the Snake Trooper, besides Skeletor and Snakeface. And it says, modernizing and celebrating the original 1980s Masters of the Universe action figures. Rise of the Snake Men. The dreaded Snake Men have arisen from the darkest depths of Snake Mountain. King Hiss and his repulsive reptiles have vowed to destroy He-Man and his heroic warriors, as well as Sun-Man and the rulers of the sun. Will Eternia fall to the slithering swarm? And then it's got a nice piece of artwork on the back. Skeletor and Too Bad and He-Man's riding up in Bashosaurus. That's Thunder Punch He-Man, who I was never able to find. And it says, Skeletor commands his dragon to spray his enemies with paralyzing venom. Includes comic book. And then it's got directions on the back here. Snap together dragon backpack. Attach chain to backpack. They mean the chest armor, the breastplate. Remove dragon's head and add water. Slip the chain over padlock to attach dragon. Turn and press dragon's head to spray. And control cup fits onto warrior's wrist. This fits on the Skeletor's wrist, unless you're going to put this on somebody else. Dragon Blaster Orko, maybe. I don't know if it fit on him, but that might be fun. All right, so let's go ahead and open them up. And we do have a comic book that says Viper's Vice. And I'm going to assume this is the one that would have come with Snake Face also. Yep, it's the one that came with Snake Face also. So we're going to set that aside. Since we already read that in the Snake Face review, we don't need to read it again. And then let's move on to his accessories. So he does have the purple version of the Sword of Power. No Havoc Staff with this figure. The original Dragon Blaster Skeletor did not come with a Havoc Staff. And here is our padlock. Set that aside. And a chain with the cuff attached to it. Very long chain. Very heavy. This is a very substantial metal chain. It's not like a cheap little aluminum thing you might get for like 25 cents out of a gumball machine. Do they even still have gumball machines anymore? Am I dating myself? All right, and then we've got the back plate of the armor, and we can see that it's molded in a kind of a light reddish purple, kind of a violet. I think that would be that color. I don't know. And then the dragon himself is just a simplified, cutesy little dragon, simplified sculpt, kind of clamped onto his back. Like I said, I didn't have the original Dragon Blaster Skeletor, so I'm not sure how accurate the design is. But we should be able to remove his head. Should be able. Remove dragon's head. It doesn't tell you any specific way to do it. There we go. All right, I got it out. So you can see here the mechanism that when you would press down on him and suck up the water from here and spray it out the head. Now, I'm not going to do that on the show because I don't want to get stuff in my room wet. So we're just going to trust that it works. All right, so Skeletor himself, get him out of here. And you can see no breastplate on the back. That's how the original Dragon Blaster Skeletor is packed in too, I believe. And the dreaded rubber tabs. Get those cut off of him. And that one slipped off. There we go. And then he's got 2 more around the ankles. And unlike Terror Claw's Skeletor, I noticed that his boots do match the same color purple as his hood, which is, I believe, the same bright shade of purple that Terror Claw's Skeletor had. And while I didn't think to bring that figure over here with me, I do still have one of the heads that came with that figure, so we can definitely compare. I'm gonna take the breastplate off from now, and it's kind of a more rubbery breastplate than I would have imagined. The back definitely seems very rigid, like how the original ones were. I guess it has to be to hold the dragon on there. But this one is very pliable, very soft. So I was just expecting it to be the same color plastic. So yeah, here we got the same. I believe it's the same exact head that came with Terror Claw's Skeletor, except for I think Terror Claw's had just a little bit more yellow overspray on the face. But other than that, it's very similar, and the hood is the same exact color of purple. All right, so let's go ahead and put. Well, before we do that, let's talk about the articulation, since we got naked Skeletor. Hey there, Sean Franklin. Good to see you, as always. All right, so Skeletor can look up about that far, look down about that far, tilt his head kind of quizzically from side to side, rotate the head all the way around. Of course, the arm rotates all the way around at the shoulder, and it moves up about that far. He's got a single joint of articulation at the elbow, which lengthens to about that far, bends about that far, and rotates all the way around. The wrist rotates all the way around and has a horizontal hinge, which moves back and forth like so. He can turn all the way around at the waist. Now, of course, these being Masters of the Universe Origins, you can also remove his arms and remove his torso. And as we already pointed out, you can remove his head. And then, technically you should be able to remove his boots, but I find it's best to heat those up with a hairdryer first. So we're not going to do that right now. And that's pretty much it for the articulation. That way we don't have the dragon getting in the way when we do articulation. So we're going to go ahead and put him together now. All right, so he's got these, you see he's got these straps on the front of the breastplate, and there's little slots for that to go into. So I'll go ahead and thread into each of these slots. And this might be easier said than done, because it doesn't seem to want to be pulling through all the way. Maybe if I actually pinch the strap and pull it through that. Man, this is tough going. I'm gonna have to get a little savage here. Get it through my teeth if I have to. There we go. That's not gonna be as easy to do on this side with the dragon. Once I pull Skeletor's head off and pull the dragon's head off as well. Nope, I'm not gonna be able to reach it. All right, here we go. I'm just gonna take the whole thing off, and then maybe I can get a better grip on it. All right, so this might be the easiest way to do this when you put this together, and it's still not going through all the way. There, I think I finally got it. Just put the since it's pliable, we can do this. Just put those tabs in first. That might be the easiest way to go with that. And then once we get it back over his torso, we can go ahead and pop the head back on. And then hopefully the straps down here will be a little bit more easygoing than those were. Come on. And that's one good thing about those breastplates on the original ones being so rigid, is like it was pretty easy to clip the tabs in there, because these are just kind of, since they're kind of fluby, you got to try to press it. It's like trying to like thread a strand of spaghetti. And like it'd be easier to stick a strand of spaghetti through a hole if it's not been cooked yet, when it's still fairly rigid and not pliable like cooked spaghetti is. Dang it, you just don't want to go in there. Force it in with my teeth. One of these days, I'm going to chip a tooth on an action figure because I'm doing this crazy shit. And if it happens on a live, you're going to laugh at me. So at least you'll get some entertainment out of it. All right, so here he is with the breastplate on and the dragon on his back, which is a metaphor for addiction, of course, like chasing the dragon or having a monkey on your back. They just combined them both together, and he's got a dragon on his back. And let's see if I can get him to stand up. So I'm going to sit him over here on the. You can't see over here, of course, but I'll describe it to you as I try to stand him up. And he is indeed standing up. I was able to get him to stand up, even with the dragon on his back. He's got to be leaning forward slightly, a little bit of a hunch. You can see him rocking his party hunch. So, all right. Let's go ahead and put together the rest of his accessories. So he's got the control cuff with the chain, and that's supposed to clamp over his left wrist. It doesn't say on the instructions that it has to go over either specific wrist, but on the illustration, they show it as going over his left wrist. And I kind of feel like it's probably best to stay consistent with how it's illustrated. Plus, that way he can wield his power sword with the right hand. And even though I figure Skeletor is certainly on the left-hand path. All right, so then we got the chain through the front of the breastplate, as it says. And then there's a little loop on the dragon right here. And that's where we're supposed to loop the chain and the padlock. Now, I'm pretty sure these are frequently lost items for children growing up in the 80s. So, and it's a shame that the dragon is not removable from the backpack. Then it would make a lot more sense for Skeletor to have this chain to control him. But yep, there we go. We got the padlock on there, and we got the chain. Oh, it's a very long chain, so you want to have it kind of wrapped around him like this. I think is the best way to do it. Or it could come around him, wrapped around him on the other side, like so. But you just want to make sure that you have it kind of evenly looped, is what I'm saying. So, and then last but not least, we got Skeletor's power sword, and like I said before, he does not come with a Havoc staff, much like the original did not come with a Havoc staff. But there he is with the power sword. And if you did want to have him with a Havoc staff, the one that comes with Terraclaw's Skeletor, it matches up with the purple on his hood and his boots too, if you care about that. So that's a good Havoc staff to give him if you want him to have that for a weapon instead. But I think most people would probably be content to just leave him with the sword. That way he can sword fight with He-Man. It's kind of funny, though, because this is a figure that came out after the Filmation cartoon series. And by that time, in Filmation, they kind of abandoned the notion of He-Man and Skeletor both having half of the power sword, and He-Man just had the whole and complete sword of power. And Skeletor pretty much uses staff. And anytime they did, you have him use a sword. It was usually that bone sword that he had. Sometimes just more of a generic looking sword. And at least on one episode, I do remember him having a sword of power, but I don't think they addressed it as such. It's just it was just the way it was drawn. It just looked like the sword of power. So that might have been a relic of an earlier point in the history of the animated series where maybe they were going to retain that gimmick, but they didn't. So I will point out that the back of the breastplate is quite a bit wider than the front, and that's probably to accommodate his dragon on his backpack. But you will notice that the dragon split kind of presses up against his arm when you've got it all put together. So basically what I'm saying is that the dragon will hinder the articulation of this arm somewhat. Not a whole lot. I mean, it's still that's about the range of motion that realistically he should have anyway. but you can't get it to turn all the way around, is what I'm saying. So he's a pretty impressive looking action figure. I think he's a bit cooler looking than even Terraclaw's Skeletor, which I did wind up really liking. But with the chain and the dragon and everything, it's kind of a creepy vibe to it, and I really like it. So I'm glad that I finally was able to get a Dragon Blaster Skeletor from my collection, even though like it had to wait like something like 40 years, and I didn't even manage to get the classics version of Dragon Blaster Skeletor. But now I have the Origins version, and he's pretty cool. But that's pretty much it for this episode. But it is not it for Skeletor, because we still got plenty more Masters of the Universe figures to open, and I've still got two more Skeletor figures to open, because we have the Stranger Things crossover 2-pack with the Demo Gorgon, and then last but not least, we will be opening up this one, the Masterverse Vintage Collection figure, which I'm really looking forward to. And if you're looking forward to it and you want to make sure you see it, make sure that you like and subscribe and all the fun YouTube stuff down below. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about Dragon Blaster Skeletor. You know, they made a lot of variants of Skeletor in the vintage line, and I know this is one that for a lot of people is their favorite and is quite beloved in the Masters of the Universe collector community. Personally, my favorite Skeletor, not just my favorite Skeletor variant, but my favorite Skeletor period, was Battle Armor Skeletor. But this guy's pretty cool too. I like him. Terraclaw Skeletor is pretty cool. And of course, the vintage, the original, the classic Skeletor, you can't beat that just for like the pure iconicness of it. But yeah, my favorite is still Battle Armor Skeletor. But that's just me. I want to hear your opinion in the comments. So thanks for watching. We'll talk to you next time. Bye.